Oh man, I will never forget that day. So there I was, I'm sitting in my tax booth, right? I'm taking in people's money, I'm helping them fill out forms, I'm doing my W-9s, you know, because that's what I do. I'm a tax collector, okay? And this one guy comes up to me and he says, hey, come follow me. And I'm thinking to myself, who the heck is this guy? Right? And I think, oh, I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to dodge his taxes, right? So I say, okay, buddy, here's some forms. You take these, you fill them out, go take them down to station 2, all right? Get out of here. But he just smiles and looks at me again. He says, Matthew, come follow me. You know, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was because I didn't know this guy from Adam, you know, and he knew my name. Or maybe it was his eyes, you know, because he's got those eyes. Like most people, when they look at you, they just look like right through you. You know, but this man, when he looks at you, he's looking inside. So I don't know what it was. You know, I'm a tax collector. I don't just leave my station on a whim and go follow people, you know, but I followed that man that day. And I spent the rest of the day with him and his friends, and they were some amazing people. And, you know, as the day wore on, we started getting hungry, and our stomachs was growling, and so I said to him, hey, come on over to my place, we'll get some food, you know? And so we start walking over there, and as we get closer, I think to myself, oh my goodness, I invited a bunch of my tax collector friends over today. And I got Jesus' friends coming over also. And you guys might not know my tax collector friends the way that I do, okay? But these are people where if you're on a cliff and you start to fall off, you know, they're more likely to give you a push than a hand, you know what I mean? And so we get closer to the house, and I open the door, and there they are, all my tax collector friends. They're laying on the couch all over the living room. And so I open the door where Jesus' friends come in. You got Jesus' friends over here, and you got my tax collector friends over there, you know, and they're kind of looking at each other. And my tax collector friends are kind of going, this guy. And I'm getting pretty uncomfortable. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go in the kitchen, I'm going to make some cold cuts, get some sample, get some food, you know, try to kind of smooth things over. So I do that, and I come back out with the food. And what do you think I saw? I saw Jesus' friends talking to my friends. I saw my friends talking to Jesus' friends. And you know what I heard?
I heard some noise coming from Matthew's house. I was with a couple of colleagues and we had just gotten through praying at the temple. So we decided to go over and investigate the situation. Inside of Matthew's house I saw a certain man. A man claiming to be the Son of God. I knew this was a teachable moment for all concerned. I saw one of his so-called disciples leaning against the wall, and I asked him, if he truly is the Son of God, what is he doing among all of these sinners?
Sinners? Ooh. You know, I mean, I'm a tax collector, okay? I mean, you don't have to tell me I'm a sinner. I'm the lowest of the low, you know? But that word still hurts. So kind of the silence kind of fell. Everyone was kind of wondering, you know, is Jesus going to say something to this guy? So Jesus gets up and he stares this Pharisee right in the face. And he says to him, it is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. I come for the sick. Oh man, and then he says, he just bored into this Pharisee with those eyes. He says, I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Oh man, you should have seen this Pharisee, man. He was furious. I mean, Jesus is quoting scripture to a Pharisee. And I knew right then, this was a man I wanted to follow. I chose right then that I wanted to be healthy from the inside. And I knew I would go wherever this man asked me to go. So I dropped everything that day, and I became one of his disciples. And it's made all the difference for me in my life. But that Pharisee, I think he had another opinion.
My opinion of this magician will be better served on another day. He desires mercy and not sacrifice. Who is he to tell me what he desires? I know the law like the back of my hand, and he has the nerve to tell me what he wants. I cannot change the law, and I will not for light of him. What I've been doing all these years is the right thing. Becoming callous, old, not with the times, but one thing I will not stand for is this. I will not be mocked. I will see he gets his in the end. He will get what is coming to him, and you can bet on it.
I bet we weren't out there very long. The Garden of Gethsemane, that is. We had all just got through with a big meal in the upper room, and Jesus talked about somebody betraying him, and then he led us out into the garden. Things happened pretty quickly after that. He asked James, Peter, and I to go a little further and pray with him, but we kept falling asleep. We didn't mean to. We were just so full. And I guess it must have happened a couple of times because Jesus kept coming back and waking us up. You know, I remember him saying, The spirit is willing, but the flesh is so weak. Everything else happened just kind of a blur that night. I still can't believe Judas started this whole mess. I mean, did he really think that what he was doing was the right thing?
That's him. That's Jesus. That's the one you want. Now listen, I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to go out there, and I'm going to kiss him on the cheek. The one I kiss on the cheek, that's the one you want. Now the others, they're going to cause a scene. It's going to get messy. But don't follow them, okay? Follow me, all right? The one I kiss on the cheek, that's the one you want. Now 30 pieces of silver, all right? We agreed. 30 pieces of silver. I want every single cent of it. Not a dime missing. Don't worry about the others. The one I kiss on the cheek, that's the one you want.
Betrayed with the kiss of a friend. What was he thinking? The guards came up and they arrested Jesus, and that's when things got crazy. Peter ran up and he cut the ear off of one of the guards. And then Jesus just picked it up and put it right back on as if nothing mattered. And then they led Jesus off to trial. You know, I wish I could have said that we stayed and fought for him. But we didn't. We ran. I ran. I was afraid. We all ran like scared little children. I know what I'm going through. I can't begin to imagine what Judas must be feeling after what he did.
What have I done? What have I done? Was I so stupid into thinking 30 pieces of silver would save my soul? I was so arrogant to think that man's approval was worth so much more than the one that actually matters. I can't live with myself. I've crucified him. I've killed my king. I've crucified him.
Crucify him! That's what they were screaming. I wasn't even present at the trial, and I could hear them from my home. They wanted my husband, Pontius Pilate, to execute an innocent man. Now, I don't usually get involved with the goings-on in this miserable little town. My husband's the one that deals with the criminals, but I didn't believe this man was a criminal, and neither did he. So he offered the rabble what seemed like a simple choice. He could release Barabbas, a known criminal, or he could release Jesus. They wanted the criminal released and the innocent man executed. I could hear them getting louder, so I sent my husband a message. I just spent the entire night having nightmares, dreams that I cannot explain, nor do I understand, except for one thing. My husband could have nothing to do with the death of this innocent man. That's the message I sent him, and so he washed his hands of what happened next. The people made the final decision. They tortured him. They beat him, flogged him, whipped him, and forced him to carry his cross up Skull Hill, where they crucified him. And he's dead now. The guard that took him down made sure of that. I'm hearing rumors that say he's going to rise again, but I don't believe it. Not for a minute, not after what they did to him. Maybe he just had delusions and really thought he had those powers. It wouldn't be the first time someone believed they had that kind of power. Or maybe he was just a crazy man, trying to preserve his memory. Regardless, he had quite the following, enough so that my husband had to place guards at his tomb to make sure they didn't sneak in and steal his body to say he'd risen again. Because dead men don't walk on their own, and he is dead.
He's alive! He's alive! As sure as I'm standing here, Jesus is alive. I've never seen anything like it in my entire life. We were all in the upper room, feeling completely sorry for ourselves. And then Mary walks up and says an angel of the Lord came to her. He told her to say to us, the disciples and Peter, that everything was going to be okay. And John and I just ran as quickly as we could down to the tomb, and we looked inside. We were too scared to go in, so we drew straws. And I won, and there was no one in there. He's risen, he's alive. I know, I didn't believe it myself, until I actually saw Jesus when we were out fishing. So we were all in the boat, and then Jesus was out on the sand. And then he called out to us and said to throw our nets on the other side of the boat. I wasn't paying attention to who said it, but then we threw our nets in, and it just started filling with fish, and we just pulled them all in. And there we were, the boat full of fish. And then I realized it. It was Jesus. I just dived into the water. I just couldn't help myself, and I swam to him. And then I was looking into those eyes. He has those eyes. And then it hit me. He said my name. He told her to say, disciples and Peter. That's my name. Even when I was at the lowest of my low, and when I betrayed him 3 times, he called out my name and said that everything was going to be okay. And you know what? He said your name too. I think that's what makes a real difference in my life. You can ask anybody you know, and they'll all agree that Jesus was a real person. But that's not the question. Some chose to believe that he was a lunatic. Some chose to believe that he was a liar. But some chose to believe that he was Lord. What will you choose?